what are the top altcoins to invest in right now? People are getting excited, and we're at a very interesting point in the market where we could see altcoins run very heavily. So let's go through what I'd be looking at right now, what I'd invest in, what I am invested in, and we'll be covering 5 different altcoins. Of course, make sure you do your research. Make sure you don't buy blindly, right? I've been preaching that I think it's a good time to buy crypto for years. I bought throughout the entire bear market. Now you're biting the hook a little bit late into the bull market, right? We're not early stages. We're maybe mid or towards like the second half of the bull market. So, full disclaimer, if you're buying now, you could get really good returns. You could also make a little bit of money, then buy more, and then make a little bit more money, and then go all in, and then like most people, lose a lot of money because we'll inevitably fall. Whenever you buy altcoins too, you're taking more risk. The majority of my portfolio, 90%, is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I think, is much less risky. Then I have allocations to stocks and real estate outside, but that's not what you want. That's what I want. What do you want? You want altcoins. You want these kinds of gains. Ethereum up, 200% in a couple months? 1,400 to 4,700. This is what you want. And that's what you're going to get. During bull markets, we see massive run-ups. This is the second largest crypto in the world, and it just went up 200%. So yeah, let's go through some altcoins that you can buy. Of course, if you do want to invest in crypto, great. If you do want to trade crypto, great. There's a link to BYDeFi underneath the video. We have this trading competition. It's more like a trading giveaway though. As more people trade, this increases the overall trading volume, which increases the prize pool. By the end of this 25-day period, we're giving away all this money, right? So it's almost $10,000 after like 5 days. So yeah, if you want to sign up with my link, you can start trading. You automatically get access to this prize pool. And we run more of these in the future too. We just give away like $6,000 in XRP. Check this out underneath the video. You can start trading on leverage. This is actually something I love to do. I don't always invest in altcoins. A lot of the time I will trade Bitcoin, and I'll trade using leverage because it actually gets very good returns still, and there's less work because you don't have to worry about learning a lot about altcoins and take on extra risk. I think, actually 2x or 3x on Bitcoin can be less risky than buying some small altcoin. So today though, we will be going through some altcoins, and you can start to see like the market is starting to get more excited, right? IBIT, Bitcoin's BlackRock ETF. It's the 4th most traded ETF today. And like it's been pulling in very small amounts compared to their Ethereum ETF. That's 5th on the list today in terms of volume. We're seeing more crypto companies IPO. Peter Thiel-backed Bitcoin and crypto exchange Bullish just went public, and it's up like 2x, 3x on their IPO. Total 2, which is all crypto minus Bitcoin, it's breaking on this downtrend. We just set a new 2024 cycle high. We're very close, just 2% away, 3% away from all-time highs. Now, if you look at total 3, we still have about a 6% move away from hitting new highs. I'd be watching this like 1.14 mark and then 1.16. So that might be closer to 8% away, but that's everything outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So still, it's still not close to a blow off top in a lot of people's minds. Like this has not been altcoin season. Bitcoin dominance has gone up for years, and only now are we starting to see it weaken a little bit, but Bitcoin's still near all-time high. So a lot of people thinking, well, we could see really good returns from some of these altcoins. And, we have the Fed cutting rates possibly here soon. And we've seen really good returns when they've cut rates. Like Bitcoin went up 70% last time that they cut rates, when they cut by 50 basis points. So with that disclaimer, with all the, knowing that there's risk still because you're not buying here. You're not buying when the whole altcoin market was 300 billion. We're buying here when it's gone up 3.5x. So if you're buying altcoins, you want to take profits at some point. Just make sure you have a plan going into it because a lot of people won't take profits. But let's look at some different altcoins that you can buy. Ethereum, I think, is the obvious one. Even with it racing up to, was it 4,700 right now? Even with it up at 4,700, it's had so much strength. Of course, it is overheated on RSI, where at 80 and 70 is considered overbought. But even if we just return down a little bit, right? If we take a little bit of a breather, I think you have to look at Ethereum for this bull run, mostly because there's so many treasury companies that are buying Ethereum, like what was happening with Bitcoin. But Ethereum's much smaller than Bitcoin is. It's 1/4, 1/5 the size. So when someone goes out and buys $1 billion of Ethereum, it's like buying $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And we just saw a $1 billion inflow into the Ethereum ETFs just 2 days ago. So that's the equivalent of $5 billion. That's insane. That's going to cause the price to go up. And so many people were shorting this. You can see on the CME, so many people are going to get wiped out shorting Ethereum. And there's still so much dry powder wanting to buy more Ethereum. This is one of the only stocks too, one of the only cryptos that people can buy via stocks right now. Of course, there are some treasury companies with like XRP and Solana and Sui and stuff like that, but it's much harder to invest in those versus Ethereum, and compliance is very different too. So you can buy an Ethereum ETF much easier than you can buy like a XRP treasury company that's much smaller, right? So this, I think, is probably the easiest altcoin to buy, right? It's been around the longest, arguably, and Wall Street really likes Ethereum. We have Tom Lee, one of the most well-known analysts in the world, probably the most well-known right now, that started an Ethereum treasury company. So this, obviously, you have to look at. Now, how high is it going to go? I don't think it's going to $30,000 this bull market, but you might get a nice 2 to 3x out of it, which is still a fantastic return. Of course, you can juice it up by using leverage, which is something that I do. I have some ETH positions on leverage. The next obvious one, Solana. Solana is so obvious. I actually just said this in a video yesterday when we were talking about ETH. Tyler and I were talking about Ethereum, and I said that, I had told people recently I think Solana could be a good way to go because it has lagged behind so much. And what are we seeing now? Well, we have seen Bitcoin run. Now we're starting to see ETH have its day. It's up 57% in 30 days, up 200% in 3 months. No one likes Solana right now. It's still down 32% from all-time highs. And what do you know? Like over the last 24 hours, it's up 6% after I said that. Over the last week, it's up 18%. So it's actually performing really well compared to some of the other top cryptos. It's, I think, second. Yeah, it's second right behind Ethereum. So Solana, with the Fed cutting rates and with people going more risk on, there's going to be this time where people get very degenerate and they just want to trade different stuff. They go really risk on, and that, I think, will boost Solana's usage. People will naturally buy Solana to buy altcoins and stuff, and just a lot of stuff still can be run on Solana because it is cheap and because it's fast. If you've used Solana, it's so much better than using Ethereum. If you're using it for any kind of transactions or trading, it's really annoying to use Ethereum after you've used Solana, especially in times of congestion. You never really have to worry about any transaction fees on Solana. There's never a time where you need to spend a quarter of a Solana on a transaction fee. No, it's a fraction of a penny. So as time goes on, I think Solana will have its day too, and it hasn't pumped up very much recently. You have BNB, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP all really close to all-time highs, and Solana's not quite there. XRP, obviously, is another one to look at. XRP and Ripple, they just ended the lawsuit with the SEC. This, I think, kind of clears the way for XRP to run throughout this bull run. It's already hit new highs compared to the last cycle. So it's already broken out of that little downtrend and come up to new highs. It's just such an obvious draw, too, for newer investors, right? We haven't seen new investors flood into the market this bull run, like not significant amounts of them compared to the last couple cycles. So if we get new investors that actually want to buy crypto, they'll come here. And if they don't know crypto, if they don't know how market caps work, they'll just go $122,000. I can't buy that. 47, that's a lot too. Oh, $3. Then they'll look into what XRP is, and they're like, oh, they're trying to, bring crypto to banks. Okay, that makes sense. Obviously, banks make a lot of money, so I'm going to throw some money in XRP. And that's, I think, how it starts with a lot of XRP investors. And then they find the community and they get more excited. So I think whether you like XRP or not, some people don't like how centralized it is, or maybe they say that the founders are dumping XRP tokens, which, they do get tokens every single month. you can't deny that they've had a very good pump recently, and they are pretty well connected. The founders are well connected. So I still think this could do well this bull run. Keep in mind, though, it is a large market cap. I mean, it's not as large as Ethereum, but it is $200 billion. So do I think it's going up to $50 this cycle? No, I don't think that's realistic either. That's a 16x. That's larger than Bitcoin is right now. I don't think that's very likely. I don't think that is likely at all. But could we see $10, $12, $15 maybe? And it could just be like a wick, right? We could be at like 8, and then all of a sudden 2 days later we're at 15, and then we're right back down. But could we see that? Yeah, I think we could. I'm not banking on that either, but I do have some XRP trades, and I have exposure to XRP. So I hope it does. We already covered Solana, Ethereum, XRP. Next, SUI. Probably one of the most volatile cryptos out of the top 100. You look here and you're like, okay, big move down, big move up. Like even these small moves, right? This looks like nothing, right? Just this little move. That's a 23% gain. Like it's just so volatile. These little wicks all the time. Like here, we went from $4.30 down to $2.40. It went down 44% and then went back up like 40%. It moves so volatile. And we just put in a higher high and 3 higher lows. Would not be surprised to see us continue to rally, especially as people will go more risk on. The high is around $5.40, so I'd be paying attention to that. Obviously, $4.40 as well is the recent high that we went to. Just getting up to new all-time highs would make us go up 35%, which isn't a lot for SUI. Keep in mind, this is a much smaller market cap. It's 30th or 40th on the list. Let me look it up real quick. 14th, sorry, I'm way off on that because it's rallied pretty hard over the last couple months, but it's $14 billion, right? $14 billion is all. Compare that to XRP, right? And it's not a small market cap, to be clear. Like that's still a very successful crypto, but compare that to XRP, it's 1/15 the size almost. So yeah, I think it could do really well this bull run. Maybe $20 or something like that, which sounds crazy. That's a 5x from here. It puts it very similar to like maybe where Cardano was last cycle. Going on from here, if we want to get into small caps, which are risky, this is not something that I do often, but I have mentioned that I have bought Inspect recently. I bought it years ago, and then I made another buy recently, like full on. I'm just saying I bought it. So like, don't be mad at me if I do trim the position because it performs really well. Even since I bought it, it's up significantly. I had some really big days this weekend. You look at Inspect, it's a layer 2 for BitTensor. BitTensor, the largest AI crypto AI has not grown very much. Like it's done fine, but you look at the market cap, it's $35 billion. It's 1/100th of all of crypto. And you look at the traditional markets, and so much money is going into AI and crypto AI spend. I think crypto AI will have its day at some point, and we'll see AI cryptos do really well. Inspect being a layer 2 to BitTensor and being very small, I think it could perform really well. It's had some big pumps recently. Of course, it is highly risky, right? It's highly risky. It's very small. So it could go down to 0, to be clear. But I bought some recently. This is really the only small crypto I bought recently. For the most part, like I said, I have been leverage trading at this point because I bought a lot of spot throughout the bear market. Now I've just been leverage trading for the last like year and a half. Very low leverage, long positions that have performed extremely well. The cool thing too is with BYDeFi, you can actually use crypto to trade crypto. Like I can trade Bitcoin with Bitcoin as collateral, so I can get paid out in Bitcoin. Same thing with XRP or Solana. So if I'm right about Bitcoin going up, not only do I make money from Bitcoin going up, but I can also earn more Bitcoin. So if I don't know, 0.01 Bitcoin and Bitcoin doubles, I can turn that into like 0.04 Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin is also worth twice as much. So it's really cool that you can trade that way on BYDeFi. It's called CoinM. You can also trade just via USDT or USDC. Someone asked me recently, like saying that was confusing once they deposited in here. All trading platforms, when you make a deposit, like you can deposit different cryptos. Actually, with BYDeFi, you can also hook up your bank, but you deposit crypto, right? You transfer funds in, and then you move it. It goes into like a funding account or a spot account, and then you transfer it over to your trading account. So I have some videos explaining how to trade from there, but you transfer it. It's very easy. You'll just go to your assets and then hit transfer, and then go into the trading account or the futures account, right? If you want to trade using leverage, and then it will show up here, right? So you can do that. It's pretty simple. And then, yeah, from there you can just trade with leverage. And I have videos on that, so I'm not going to go over that now. Let me know your thoughts on this list. It's obviously weighted a lot towards the bigger caps, not very much on the smaller cap side, but are there some big caps I'm missing? Right? I know there are some fan favorites out there that people think will do really well this bull market. So yeah, maybe I am missing some things, but I whittled it down to 5. Of course, do your own research. I'm not telling you to buy anything. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.